Hello and welcome. Today I invite you on a remarkable journey, not to the sun-drenched, sandy shores you might imagine, but to the very edges of our world, where the land meets the sea in the most extraordinary and unexpected ways. We will be exploring the planet's strangest coastlines, places where the forces of nature have sculpted landscapes so bizarre, so alien, that they challenge our very definition of a beach. These are the frontiers of our planet, where geology, biology, and the relentless power of the ocean converge to create natural masterpieces. Forget the gentle lapping of waves on golden sand. The coastlines we are about to witness are different. They are places of mythic grandeur, of haunting desolation, and of ethereal beauty. Some of the destinations on our voyage are so surreal, they seem to have been plucked from the canvas of a science fiction film, looking as if they belong on an entirely different planet. So join me as we travel across the globe to witness these geological wonders, these coastal enigmas that remind us just how much mystery and magic our own world still holds. Our adventure to the planet's most peculiar shores begins now. Our first destination takes us to the emerald waters of the Gulf of Tonkin in Vietnam. Here, in Ha Long Bay, we find a coastline that seems born not of geology, but of mythology. Thousands of limestone karsts and isles, weathered and worn into fantastical shapes, erupt vertically from the tranquil sea. This is a seascape of breathtaking scale and drama. This place is so revered, it is steeped in legends of dragons descending from the heavens to protect the Vietnamese people from invaders. The local tales speak of a great dragon that spat out jewels and jade, which formed the islands we see today. The jagged, serrated ridges of the limestone formations, snaking for miles across the horizon, do indeed resemble the powerful, undulating spine of some colossal mythical beast resting just beneath the surface. Each pillar of rock tells a story of its own, a narrative written over 500 million years of geological time. These formations began their life as a thick bed of limestone on the seabed. Over eons, tectonic forces pushed this layer upwards, and the patient artistic hand of erosion began its work. The sea has sculpted notches at the base of the islands, undercutting the rock and creating the distinctive shapes that make them appear to float, almost ethereally, upon the water. It is a delicate balance between the solidity of the stone and the fluidity of the sea. For the local fishing communities who have called this bay home for generations, these islands are more than just a spectacular backdrop. They are a way of life. Floating villages nestle in the sheltered coves, their inhabitants living in harmony with the rhythm of the tides and the spirit of the dragon. The dragon's backbone is a powerful reminder that our planet's coastlines can be galleries of natural art, displaying sculptures of an almost divine imagination. It is a truly fitting start to our exploration of the world's weirdest and most wonderful shores. From the mythical grandeur of Southeast Asia, our journey now takes us to a profoundly different yet equally strange coastline in the south of England. This is Dungeness, a place that defies all conventional notions of a British seaside. There is no golden sand here, no bustling promenade. Instead, what greets you is a vast, sprawling expanse of shingle, one of the largest in Europe. It is a landscape of stark, minimalist beauty, often described as Britain's only desert. The atmosphere here is unique, almost palpable. A sense of quiet desolation hangs in the salt-laced air, punctuated only by the crunch of pebbles underfoot and the cry of seabirds. The landscape is unnervingly flat, a headland jutting out into the English Channel. This coastline is shaped not by cliffs and erosion, but by the ceaseless process of longshore drift. For thousands of years, the currents have been depositing billions of flint pebbles here, creating a coastline that is constantly growing and shifting. Scattered across this shingle desert are the curious remnants of human endeavor, which only add to its surreal quality. Discarded fishing boats lie beached and decaying like the skeletons of great sea creatures, and looming over it all are two lighthouses and the monolithic, brutalist form of a nuclear power station, its stark geometry a jarring yet strangely fitting feature in this otherworldly environment. This is a place that has attracted artists and eccentrics, most famously the late filmmaker Derek Jarman, whose garden, created amidst the shingle, is a masterpiece of resilience. Without a lawn or conventional flower beds, it is a collection of hardy, salt-resistant plants, interspersed with sculptures of driftwood and rusted metal. When the sea mists roll in, the landscape is transformed into something truly ethereal. It feels like standing at the very end of the world, a liminal space between land, sea, and sky. Dungeness is a shingle desert by the sea, a uniquely haunting and unforgettable stretch of our planet's coast. We now travel south to the rugged and windswept southern coast of Australia. Here, along the famed Great Ocean Road in Victoria, the Southern Ocean relentlessly batters the land, and in doing so, has created one of the most iconic and dramatic coastal landscapes on Earth, the 12 Apostles. Despite their name, these are not figures of religious significance, but magnificent, towering stacks of limestone that rise majestically from the tumultuous waves. These colossal pillars are the remnants of a former coastline. They stand as isolated sentinels, defiant against the very power that created them. For millions of years, the wind and waves of the Southern Ocean have been waging a war of attrition against these limestone cliffs. The waves first carve out caves in the softer rock of the headlands. As the relentless hydraulic action continues, these caves deepen and eventually break through to the other side, forming spectacular natural arches. Under the constant assault from the elements, the top of the arch will inevitably collapse, leaving behind a solitary pillar of rock. The name 12 Apostles is something of a misnomer, a clever piece of marketing from the 20th century. They were originally known as the Sow and Piglets. Furthermore, there were never 12 of them in the modern formation. At the time of their renaming there were 9, but the ceaseless erosion ensures this number is never permanent. To witness these giants at sunrise or sunset is a truly humbling experience. The changing light paints the cliffs and stacks in a symphony of colors, from soft pinks and oranges to deep, dramatic reds. The limestone, up to 45 meters high, glows with an ancient light. This process of creation and destruction is visible all along this stretch of coast. Further along, you can see other famous formations like the Lockhart Gorge and London Bridge, which famously became London Arch in 1990 when the span connecting it to the mainland collapsed. The 12 Apostles are a stark and beautiful illustration of the immense power of nature. They are monuments to time, sculpted by the patient yet unstoppable forces of the ocean. Standing on the cliff edge, gazing out at these lonely giants, one feels a profound connection to the raw, untamed spirit of our planet. Our next stop takes us to the Atlantic coast of North America, to a place where the coastline is not defined by static forms, but by constant dramatic movement. This is the Bay of Fundy, nestled between the Canadian provinces of New Brunswick and Nova Scotia. It is home to a truly mind-boggling natural phenomenon, the highest tides in the world. Here, the difference between high and low tide can be as much as 16 meters, the height of a 5-story building. Twice a day, every day, more than 160 billion tons of seawater, more than the combined flow of all the world's freshwater rivers, surges into and out of this enormous funnel-shaped bay. This colossal movement of water completely transforms the landscape in a matter of hours. What was a vast, muddy seabed at low tide, where you could walk for miles, becomes a deep, navigable waterway at high tide, with boats floating far above where you stood just 6 hours earlier. This extraordinary tidal range is the result of a rare combination of factors. The bay's specific length, shape, and depth cause it to have a natural resonance that happens to coincide almost perfectly with the timing of the Atlantic Ocean's tidal pulse. At Hopewell Rocks in New Brunswick, you can witness the power of this erosion firsthand. At low tide, you can walk on the ocean floor among towering sandstone formations, known as flower pot rocks, which have been sculpted by the tidal abrasion. The entire ecosystem is adapted to this extreme twice-daily cycle of flood and drought. The mudflats exposed at low tide are a vital feeding ground for millions of migratory shorebirds. The nutrient-rich waters, constantly stirred by the tides, support a huge diversity of marine life, including several species of whales who come here to feed on the abundant krill and fish. The bay is a powerhouse of biological productivity, all driven by the immense energy of the tides. To experience the Bay of Fundy is to witness the planet breathing. The rhythmic rise and fall of the water is a display of gravitational power on a cosmic scale, a dance between the Earth, Moon, and Sun. It is a coastline that is never the same from one moment to the next, a place of perpetual change and staggering natural force, reminding us that some of the world's weirdest and most wonderful features are not static, but are in constant, dramatic motion. We now leave the oceans behind, yet our journey to the world's strangest coastlines continues. We ascend high into the Andes Mountains of Bolivia, to an altitude of nearly 3,700 meters. Here lies a landscape so surreal, it seems to defy reality itself. This is the Salar de Uyuni, the world's largest salt flat. While it may be landlocked, during the rainy season it transforms into a coastline of infinite, breathtaking strangeness. For most of the year, the Salar is a vast, blindingly white expanse of salt crust, stretching over 10,000 square kilometers. The hexagonal patterns of the salt crystals create a geometric mosaic that seems to extend forever, a sterile and beautiful desert of salt. But it is during the wet season, from roughly December to April, that the true magic happens. A thin layer of rainwater collects on the incredibly flat surface of the salt pan, unable to drain away. This transforms the Salar into the world's largest natural mirror. The shallow water perfectly reflects the sky above, creating an illusion that is both disorienting and profoundly beautiful. The horizon simply vanishes. Where the sky ends and the land begins becomes impossible to tell. The line between what we perceive as the coast and the sea itself dissolves into a perfect, seamless reflection. Clouds drift both above and below you. Mountains on the distant shore appear to float in a void. It feels less like standing on Earth and more like walking on the sky. This ethereal landscape creates unparalleled opportunities for photographers who play with the distorted perspective to create surreal and mind-bending images. People and vehicles appear to be suspended in mid-air, their reflections as crisp and clear as the objects themselves. At night, the spectacle continues. With no light pollution and the thin high-altitude air, the Salar becomes a celestial observatory. The Milky Way, stars and planets are reflected with stunning clarity in the water below. It is like floating through the cosmos, with galaxies both overhead and underfoot. Despite its barren appearance, the Salar is not without life. It is a major breeding ground for several species of flamingo, who feed on the brine shrimp that thrive in the salty water. Their bright pink forms, wading through the mirror-like expanse, add another layer of surreal beauty to the scene. The Salar is also a vast reserve of lithium, making this otherworldly landscape a key resource for our technological future. This strange, reflective shoreline is a place where geology and cosmology meet, a vast, flat mirror that forces us to look up and contemplate our place in the universe. Our journey now returns to the coast of Europe, to the rugged northern shores of County Antrim in Northern Ireland. Here, we find a geological marvel so precise and so geometric, it seems impossible that it could be the work of nature alone. This is the Giant's Causeway, a coastal pavement made of some 40,000 interlocking basalt columns, most of them perfect hexagons, that step down from the cliff foot and disappear under the sea. For centuries, this extraordinary landscape has fired the human imagination. It is easy to see why. The columns are so regular, so orderly, they look like man-made paving stones for a giant. And indeed, mythology has provided a colorful explanation. The legend tells of the Irish giant Fionn McCumhale, Finn McCool, who built the causeway across the sea to Scotland in order to fight his Scottish rival, Benandonner. The scientific explanation is, in its own way, just as dramatic as the myth. Around 60 million years ago, this region was a hotbed of volcanic activity. Molten basalt lava flowed out, filling ancient river valleys. As this thick layer of lava began to cool and contract, it did so from the top down and the bottom up. The immense pressure caused fractures to form, and as is common in nature, the most efficient shape for relieving this stress is a hexagon. The result is this incredible forest of stone pillars. While most are hexagonal, columns with 4, 5, 7 or even 8 sides can also be found. They fit together with the precision of a honeycomb. Some columns, known as the organ and the giant's boot, have been given names based on their shapes, adding to the folklore of the site. Walking on the causeway is a truly unique tactile experience. You can step from column to column, marveling at their symmetry and the sheer improbability of their existence. The columns vary in height, creating a series of steps and platforms that lead you down to the water's edge. It feels like exploring the ruins of some ancient, mysterious civilization, a city built by giants, just as the legend suggests. The Giant's Causeway is a perfect intersection of science and legend, a place where a dramatic geological story has given birth to an equally dramatic human one. It stands as a powerful testament to the fiery, formative forces that lie just beneath the Earth's crust. For our final destination, we travel to the tropical paradise of the Maldives, an archipelago nation in the Indian Ocean. While known for its idyllic white sand beaches and crystal-clear turquoise waters, one of its islands, Vaadhoo, holds a secret that transforms its shoreline into a scene of pure enchantment after darkness falls. This is the phenomenon known as the Sea of Stars. By day, the beaches of Vaadhoo Island are beautiful, but not unlike many others in the Maldives. But as the sun sets and night descends, the magic begins. With every wave that gently laps or crashes upon the shore, a brilliant ethereal blue light appears in the water. The waterline glitters and sparkles as if millions of tiny stars have been washed ashore, mirroring the constellations in the sky above. This mesmerizing display is not magic, but biology. It is the result of a natural chemical reaction called bioluminescence, produced by microscopic marine organisms known as dinoflagellates. These tiny creatures float in the water, and when they are agitated by movement, they emit a flash of light. This light is a defense mechanism. The sudden, brilliant flash is intended to startle and deter predators. The effect is utterly captivating. Walking along the beach, your footprints glow blue in the sand behind you. A hand swirled through the water leaves a glittering trail of light. Fish, swimming through clouds of these organisms, appear as glowing blue streaks darting through the darkness. The entire shoreline seems to be alive, pulsing with a cold blue fire. When conditions are just right, the display is nothing short of spectacular, turning the entire coastal area into a surreal, glowing wonderland. This strange and beautiful coastline, the Sea of Stars, offers a profound connection to the hidden world of the ocean. It shows us that even on the most picturesque beaches there can be extraordinary secrets waiting to be revealed by the darkness. It is a magical conclusion to our journey, a coastline that glows with the very spark of life itself. And so our journey to the world's strangest coastlines comes to an end. From the mythical dragon spine of Vietnam to the living light of the Maldives, we have seen how the forces of geology and biology can conspire to create landscapes of breathtaking and bizarre beauty. These shores challenge our expectations, reminding us that our planet is a place of endless variety and surprise. Each one tells a unique story of time, pressure, and adaptation, a narrative written in stone, shingle, salt, and even light. They are the planet's masterpieces, its grand, peculiar sculptures. These coastlines are more than just geographical oddities. They are a vital part of our world's natural heritage. They inspire awe, fire our imaginations, and connect us to the deep, powerful forces that have shaped our planet over millions of years. They show us that there is still so much to discover, so much to understand, and so much to protect. The world is full of wonders, often hiding in plain sight, waiting for us at the edge of the land and sea. Which of these incredible coastlines surprised you the most? I would be fascinated to read your thoughts in the comments below. Thank you for joining me on this adventure to the peculiar and magnificent fringes of our world. If you enjoyed this exploration of our planet's amazing geography, please consider subscribing and joining our community of curious minds for many more journeys to come. There is always another wonder just over the horizon.